All right, let's talk about Japan's Specified Skilled Worker Visa, or the SSW visa. There's so much noise and, honestly, a lot of bad information out there about this program. So we're going to cut through all of that and get to what you actually need to know. First things first, you gotta understand why this visa even exists. Japan has a huge problem. It needs workers. I'm not talking about students, and I'm definitely not talking about trainees. I mean real, legal, on-the-books workers. This is the whole entire point of the SSW program. But, and this is a huge but, we have to get one thing crystal clear right at the start because it's the biggest lie out there. Here's the truth that most agents won't tell you. The SSW visa is not a shortcut to getting permanent residency. And once you understand that, well, everything changes. So, with that major warning in mind, let's rewind a little bit. What exactly is this visa? And what problem was it really built to solve for Japan? Okay, so the Specified Skilled Worker Visa, or Tokutei Jinu in Japanese, was rolled out back in 2019. Its mission is super direct. Fill jobs in very specific industries where Japan just doesn't have enough people. The key thing here is that it treats you like a real worker with rights, not just a trainee. Now, lean in for this part, because this is where you really need to pay attention. There are two different types of SSW visa, and figuring out the difference is maybe the most critical decision you'll make in this whole process. And wow, the difference between them couldn't be bigger. Type 1, that's the one most people get. You can only stay for up to 5 years. You cannot bring your family, and forget about a direct path to permanent residency. It doesn't exist. Then there's Type 2, which is the complete opposite. You can renew it forever. You can bring your family, and it actually opens a possible, indirect door to PR. Seriously, it's like night and day. But hey, before you get all excited about Type 2, let's hit pause for a reality check. It's only available in a tiny number of industries. It requires you to have some seriously advanced, almost manager-level skills. And the tests? The tests to even qualify are famous for being incredibly hard to pass. It's really designed for a select few, not for everybody. So let's lay it all out on the table. What are the actual, real-deal advantages of this program, and what are the harsh truths you have to be ready for? Let's start with the good stuff, because there are some big positives. First, you get official status as a worker, which is a huge step up from being a trainee. The pay is almost always better than the old intern program. You can even change companies if a better job comes along, though there are rules. And this is huge. It all counts as real work experience in Japan, and you're covered by proper labor laws. Okay, now for the cons. And this is the part you really have to let sink in. For almost everyone on Type 1, you can't bring your spouse or kids. There is no direct path to PR. Your visa is completely tied to your job. You lose the job, you could lose your visa. You have to pass a language test. And, like we said, jumping up to Type 2 is ridiculously hard. So, if you're trying to wrap your head around all this, just think of it this way. The SSW is a workforce visa. It was made to fill a labor shortage. It was not made to be a settlement visa for you to come and build a permanent life in Japan. Okay, so you've heard the good and the bad, you understand the trade-offs, and you still think this is the right move for you. Awesome. So how do you actually apply? Let's look at this not just as a to-do list, but as a series of hurdles you've got to clear. On paper, it looks pretty straightforward. 1. Pass the Japanese test. 2. Pass your industry skills test. 3. Find a real company to hire you. 4. That company gets your certificate of eligibility, the COE. And 5. You take that COE to your local embassy and get your visa. Sounds simple, right?
Well, if the official steps are that clear, why on earth do so many people get rejected or, even worse, fall for scams?
This is why. The real reasons people fail are usually hidden between the lines. They get tangled up with fake employers. Their paperwork is a mess, it's incomplete, or has mistakes. If they've lived in Japan before, any unpaid taxes or even phone bills can sink their application. Any past immigration trouble is an automatic no. And of course, a lot of people just can't pass the exams. And now we've finally reached the part of the show I know most of you have been waiting for. What's the real way to stay in Japan for the long haul? What's the actual truth about getting permanent residency? Let me be as blunt as I can possibly be here. Going from an SSW Type 1 visa directly to permanent residency is impossible. Not hard, not complicated, impossible. The system is not built for it. Anyone who tells you that it is either wrong or they're lying to you. period. So, is it hopeless? Well, no, not completely, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. A possible, very long path could look something like this. You work your full 5 years on the Type 1 visa. Then, somehow, you pass those super hard exams and upgrade to Type 2. After that, you've got to work for several more years to meet the tough requirements for long-term resident status. And only then, after at least a decade total in Japan, can you even think about applying for PR. And that's exactly why you have to remember this one key idea. The SSW visa is a step you can take to get into Japan. It is not the final destination. And that's really the bottom line, isn't it? The Specified Skilled Worker Visa is a tool. It can be a key that opens the door to legal work, great experience, and a life in Japan. But that same key can lock you in a trap if you don't understand the rules and you don't plan your next move. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. The most important question you can ask yourself isn't, how fast can I get to Japan? The real question, the smart question, is, if I take this visa, where does this path actually lead me in 5 or 10 years? You have to think strategy, not just speed. So we've really dug into the reality of SSW Type 1 today. But what about that mysterious, powerful Type 2 visa? Is it a realistic option for anyone, or is it just a pipe dream? In our next explainer, we're going to do a deep dive and break it all down. So make sure you subscribe. You're not going to want to miss it.